What makes something an icon? It's something revered, instantly recognizable. A focal point. In a decade, Icon Shelter Systems has set the standard for outdoor architecture. Take this city park, for example.
What we planned to do was introduce it, turn it into more of a gateway feature for the city. And that did include some recreation components, but more of an entry gateway as you leave the Arboretum, but yet come into the village of Lisle, that now you're saying, wow, what a great place to live.
Designers worked with Icon to develop shelters that would actually absorb excess water, live plants that were inserted into the roof to not only generate oxygen, but reduce the runoff water into the basin.
We had to work very closely with the representatives of Icon, and they obviously developed the engineering documents. We went back and forth, told us what was going to be what and what the specific specifications or parameters needed to be, and then together presented that to the client. The client loved it, but this particular site, we had the barrel vaulted tray system on top, and it's very successful.
The science of a live roof shelter has a lot of communities rethinking their park structures, and Icon Shelter Systems is right there on the forefront.
We were the first company to put this concept together and deliver it to the marketplace, and we exhibited it at the American Society of Landscape Architects annual meeting in Chicago in 2009, and the National Recreation and Park Association annual meeting in Salt Lake City that year as well, and it was very well received.
Planning Resources' focal point for the peninsula on Prairie Walk Pond is also an Icon shelter. It had to be built tough enough to withstand the water that floods each spring.
Lisle got hit pretty hard. The water was as high as 8 feet in that area. Went back, no plant was moved. Every hardscape element, every softscape element, which is most important, none of it moved. All of it withstood being underwater for, I want to say it was at least a week and a half at that particular elevation.
The Icon Shelter System structures held up after the rains.
There was nothing on the shelters other than dirt and debris. Once they were power washed, you couldn't tell they even went through a flooding period and that were underwater for almost 2 weeks, a week and a half to 2 weeks, which does say a lot about the quality of material and the quality structures that one can get from Icon shelters.
What makes these shelters so tough? It's the design and construction put into every project. Continuous welds seal out moisture, and our finish is unmatched in the industry.
We had to design new products for the Mississippi coast after Katrina that now have to take into account tidal surges from hurricanes. So yes, we've done many different aspects of design, from high snow loads, Florida wind speeds, flood loads, surges. So yes, it's very interesting and very complex.
So complex that Icon Shelter Systems went to an outside partner for their coatings.
We knew this was the best system that could be used. The E-Coat system is one of the best. That's what they use for your cars to help for corrosion protection.
Icon partners with B.L. Downey for their finishes. They work with the big 3 agricultural companies and know what it takes to be weather resistant.
We coat anything from a small piece that's a 1/4 inch, cube. We had a valve here for the Grand Coulee Dam, and 4 of us could stand inside that valve.
Icon Shelter Systems uses heavy steel parts, which Downey blasts with heavy steel shot. This cleans the metal, making it ready to lock onto the coating.
You want a good profile in that steel. You want to get 1.5 microns, for instance. You want to be able so that paint can get in there and hang on to it. That's what's important. It anchors it to the steel.
Massive ovens heat the pieces up gradually.
That flame is creating a chamber in there, and you have a natural heat chamber that rises around and circulates that heat around the part to cure the powder.
It is impressive, but what is more impressive is when you talk to them and you find out the steps that they take to make sure that they're putting a good coating on every product that comes in the door, because they don't just do powder coating for Icon Shelter Systems. They do powder coatings for all kinds of other companies.
Clear coat is added as another layer of protection. The finish is the thickest in the industry.
Generally, most people have like 4 mils of thickness. We have 8 to 12 mils, with a clear coat. You know, there's just more paint there than is normal, and these guys do an excellent job.
Why go the extra step? Icon's leadership has 70 years of cumulative experience in the business. They know what the competition has to offer because they work there. They knew they could build it better.
We saw the shortcomings of all the other companies that were out there and tried to incorporate what they did well, but keeping out what they didn't do well, and tried to expand upon that.
Icon Shelter Systems has many firsts in the industry. One of them is a series of shelters designed in the Craftsman style of architecture.
They were very well received, and the first two we made we sold right away, right at the show. This has been a very popular item in our product line, and it's also been one of the most copied products that we make.
Another first was when Icon Shelter Systems offered architects and designers something they really wanted: custom sizes.
What we decided is it didn't matter to us what size, because we don't stock things, what size it was didn't matter. So we tried to keep it so it wasn't too out of line. So we said anything in a 1 foot increment, although we do anything that anybody needs. But a 1 foot increment gave them a lot more options that were still standard.
Designers love this flexibility, allowing them to build many different size shelters in a single project. Crystal Lake is a great example. Reclaimed by the city, it is now the gem of the park system near Chicago, and Icon provided much needed shelters for the park system.
There were not a lot of trees on the site because it was a sand and gravel quarry. And so before any kind of landscaping and planting material went in, shade is one of those things, especially in the beach area, that needs to be provided. So we did do a large picnic pavilion, what we call kind of open on the grand lawn that is adjacent to the lake house. And so this really provides an opportunity potentially for large group gatherings and functions with a giant lawn overlooking the south lake or the larger lake. We did integrate some solar panels with the actual lighting for some of those perimeter shelters. So being environmentally friendly and looking at ways not to have to come in and use a lot of electrical wiring to, a mile away from where the center core is. These shelters really provide some safe havens, also in inclement weather. If you're out on a trail system, you're not going to be able to hop back to the main lake house within a couple minutes. So having some of these auxiliary shelters, again, provides a shelter from inclement weather, and also just provides, from the elements of the sun.
Andy is impressed by the selection and construction of Icon Shelter Systems.
We've worked with Icon on several projects, and throughout the process at Three Oaks Recreation Area, it's been a good process of working with Icon. Good quality materials, and we went through a lot of different selections on colors and samples, and the design of the shelters as well.
Custom work is encouraged, and Icon's team only needs an idea to make it happen. This memorial in North Carolina is a great example.
All we had was a sketch to start with, and we went back and forth with that for them, and they ended up, I don't know how many counties there were. I think there was like 50 of these monoliths that we did, and you don't really get the full appeal on that one until you see it at night.
Cities are embracing their Icon shelters as gathering places for farmers markets and live concerts.
Open public spaces for gatherings have been important for hundreds of years, all through history, really. And we've started to see a decline in this, and so it's very exciting to be a part of seeing cities again develop their urban areas into places where large groups of people can gather together for one purpose or another, and have this sense of community. And it's gratifying to be a part of that.
Icon has designed and fabricated carousel houses, walkway bridges, and was the first shelter company to offer unique clock towers. The innovation doesn't end there. Technology is now being integrated into Icon shelters.
You could be walking through a park and you've got your charger in your pocket, and your phone's going dead, you can walk up to the shelter, plug it in. When you couple that with a table and benches around the column with multiple outlets, different people can sit, they can interact, they can play games together on their mobile devices. So it's just a thing about how is recreation evolving, and how do companies like ours change with that evolution to meet their needs.
That's our goal, is to how can we help get this project done. what do you need, how can we help it, and we've always tried to do where we offer services to help them, because we know architects, especially architects, are busy. We don't really need them to do too much. We can help them do it and still achieve the same goal.
How can Icon Shelter Systems help you achieve your dreamscape? We have the team and the experience to make it happen. Just ask our customers.
We love working with Icon. They know when there's planning resources on a project, they're going to get calls about doing some custom and unique work, and we like that.